for now, we're not going to look at the feet. We're just going to send our attention down to the feet. You can close your eyes or just lower your gaze, but not actually looking at the feet, just feeling it. So all that, you know, normally in the course of our days, we get stuck up in the head. So it's really nice to balance it out by really exploring the sensations of the feet. And simple thing you can do to wake them up a little bit is lift the toes and spread the toes and then lower them. And do that again, lift the toes, spread the toes, lower them. And then we're going to lift the heels. And lower them. And lift the heels again. And make it quite exaggerated if you can, so you really feel a stretch on the front of the foot and the full sense of the arch of the foot. And then lower your heels. And we're going to shift our weight onto the left foot, lift the heel of the right foot. And again, it's sort of quite exaggerated lift of the heel, so feel that stronger sensation now in the foot on the right side. Lift the toes, and we can do a little rotation, clockwise, anti-clockwise. And then we're going to press the front of the foot. I'm just turning around so that we press down into the floor through the front of the foot. It's a little bit out of your comfort zone maybe to do that. You're going to feel perhaps a scrunchy sort of feeling in the toes. Can you press down through every toe? And then we're releasing the foot and shift the weight onto that right foot, lift the heel of the left. So again, it's sort of quite an exaggerated feeling now in the front of the foot. And then you can lift the toes and rotate the foot clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then we're going to press, I'll just turn around, press the front of the foot down into the floor. So you can bring it behind you a bit if that helps. Try and press down through every toe. And then releasing the foot back. So both soles of the feet are on the floor. So sensing the support of the earth underfoot, and then the sense of the foot pressing to the earth. So the quality of the texture underfoot. So we're going to visualize on your next in-breath, and I fully understand that this might feel like a bit of a leap, so it's going to have to be a visualization if you're not going to sense it fully, but the breath coming up through the soles of the feet all the way up the body into the crown of the head. And we can help that with a in-breath and an upward lift of the hands. Bring the hands over the head. Lightly pressing fingertips together. And then breathing out. So the breath comes all the way down the body, out through the soles of the feet. So we'll just do a few of those. It's quite a big, I think it's a little challenging to have that sense of the body from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head. So breathing up the body and then breathing down from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. So do a few of those breaths. And it's a deep breath in. And it's a slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Just one more. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. So let's just use the block now. We're going to bring it between our thighs, and we're going to see how that feels. So you want it not, I've got the thinnest version of the block between my thighs, and we're just going to use that block to engage the inner thigh, so pressing in. And then we can bring our hands to the back body. So what we want to feel is a sort of relaxing and lengthening in the back body, but a slight contraction up the front body. And then we'll release our hands and just come up. You can lift your heels as well. Come up with your arms, breathing in. And then breathing out, relaxing the grip on the block as you breathe out. So just one more of those. Breathing in. Relaxing your grip on the block as you breathe out, come down. And then we're gonna, if you're not already at the front of your mat, just turn to the front of your mat. Put your block to one side and have your belt so it's long lengthways at the front of your mat, so you can grip it in a moment. So we're going to fold forward into a half forward bend. Move the crown forward, move the tailbone back. And then come down to Uttanasana, or a full forward bend. Drop the head. With a little bend in the knees, coming all the way up with your arms on an in-breath. On an out-breath, come all the way down. Uttanasana. And then on an in-breath, just lengthen up. So not the full, so coming sort of to a halfway forward fold. And then coming all the way up. Big wide circle of your arms. All the way down. We're going to really plant our hands, really press back, press the weight, tip the weight into the hands. You can lighten the weight into the heels a little bit. And then we're just going to step back into a downward dog. So I don't know about you, it's probably the first downward dog of the day, I'm guessing. So let's just bend and bend the right leg and take a breath in. Bend the left leg, take a breath out. Bend the right leg, take a breath in. Bend the left leg, take a breath out. And now let's lengthen our downward dog a little bit. So either walk the feet back, or you maybe walk the hands forward, and you can swing your shoulders over the wrists. So we're coming into plank. We're going to bring the knees down for this version and take a little chaturanga. So just dropping the elbows. And then come all the way to the floor. So so this is where we're using the block again. We're going to bring the block between the between the thighs, or the book, or whatever it is you're using. Just rest your head down for now, but slide your hands back towards your lower ribs. And squeeze the elbows in. So the head stays down for now. And we're going to really grip that block. And then feel a sort of firming action in the buttocks, pressing down through the pubic bone, And can you squeeze all the muscles all the way along the spine, squeeze them in. So it's a gentle grip that we're using on the. Hi, Kirsty. So here we are, still in Cobra. And then you can lift your head and you can lift your chest. And hopefully, because you've got that sort of quite firm feeling of squeezing in, that should feel very comfortable, not a very supportive back arch, not a weakening back arch. So we're going to bring the head down, just relax for a moment. And then press up into upward dog. And all the way back to child pose. We're keeping the block if you can, just for now. We won't use it for the whole time. Come up into downward dog. Keep that squeeze on the inner thigh, and we'll just take that once more. So we're swinging forward into a plank. You can bring your knees down, but if you want to keep them lifted for this, that's fine. Take a little chaturanga, elbows bending, squeezing the elbows into the side body, dropping down, head comes down. We're keeping the hands by the ribs, trying to create a right angle so the elbows are above the wrists. Spread the fingers. And then let's feel that engagement from the inner thighs up. So squeezing the inner thigh, firming the buttocks, and feel sort of a gentle contraction of the muscles all the way up the spine towards the shoulder blades, squeezing the shoulder blades in, and then your head and chest can lift. So it's a very gentle, it should feel like a supportive back arch. Obviously you are having to work here, but yeah, and the muscles should feel, yeah, it's a very sort of safe, not a pinchy, sharp feeling. So come down, completely relax your head. And then we're going to press the floor away, coming into upward dog. Pull the belly in, roll the shoulders back. And we'll keep a grip on the block as you come back to child pose. I know it's a bit awkward holding the block. We won't do it for the whole session, just to help you fire up your core. Press into the floor and then lift up into downward dog. And you can put your block to one side now. Walk your feet forward. Take a Uttanasana, forward fold. With a little bend in the legs, come all the way up to standing, reaching up overhead with your hands. And then we're going to come down to halfway position. So tailbone moves back, crown of the head moves forward, belly pulls up all the way down to the floor, and back to downward dog. So we're going to turn the left toes out. We're going to pick up the right foot and step it forward. So we're coming up into warrior one, and you can lift your belt at this point. You can take it up with you. So we're really pulling on the belt. So that gives a little extra action for the arms. So as though you're going to bust the belt, pull the belt apart. Keep pressing back into the back foot. The front knee bent, engaging the arms and a little inward squeeze of the thighs. So it's good to use the thighs, but obviously, inner thigh. Obviously, it's good to engage those inner thighs, but you know, it has to be balanced. So if you feel like you're exhausting them, then relax it a little bit. And then we're going to come all the way down. We're going to step back into downward dog. We're going to swing forward into plank and bring the knees down if you like to. Drop into chaturanga. We're holding chaturanga for a moment. And then all the way down to the floor, head down. So if you quite like using the block here and you want to bring it back between your thighs, you can. If you're not, if you don't necessarily need to, you can just keep the memory of that, what that felt like. So we're engaging the inner thigh, firming the buttocks, and feel a gentle, we're basically trying to find strength in the back body. So engaging all the muscles on the length of the spine, squeezing the shoulder blades in, and then you can lift your head and chest. Not too much, well, don't feel like you have to come up too high. It could be a small lift. And over time, when you get the strength, it'll be easy to come up higher. Hold that for a breath. And then just come down, rest the head, completely relaxed. Press into the floor, back to upward dog. Pausing here, and then all the way back to child pose and downward dog. So we're going to turn the right toes in, right toes out. We're going to pick up the left foot, step it forward. We're coming up into warrior one, so you can pick up your belt and come up again. So you've got that nice feeling of, power in the arms in a different way from if you're just holding them. Pressing back into the back foot. And this is a challenge for you. See if you can make your front leg, the thigh of the front leg parallel with the floor. It's hard, so it's just something to work towards, going a bit deeper basically. Keep a little engagement of the inner thigh, breathing. And then we're coming down, we're going to lay the belt down. And we're stepping forward into forward fold, folding down. Come up to halfway. So pressing into the top of the thighs, that works really nicely for me because I feel like I can lengthen out my lower back. Little bend in the knees, coming all the way up to standing. We won't hang about here, so we're coming all the way down again into Uttanasana. Step back into downward dog. We're going to lift the right foot. We're going to turn out the left toes. We're going to pick up the right foot, step forward into warrior, coming up again. So we're in warrior one. Have a little look down at your front thigh. Can you drop it a little lower? And then we're going to lift that back heel. We're going to turn into warrior two. And at this point, you can take your belt a little wider and see if you can gently move the arms back behind you. And we're going to engage the legs a little bit more. So sense that sort of squeezing in of the inner thigh. You don't have to hold that permanently. You can kind of pulse the inner thigh a little bit. Squeeze in and then relax it. Squeeze in and then relax it. And see if you can maybe drop a little lower so that front thigh becomes parallel with the floor. So we're going to lift that back heel. We're turning back to the front of the mat. Keep the heel lifted. We're lowering the belt back to the floor. We're going to step back to downward dog. We're going to come forward into plank. If you take whatever option you prefer, if you want to rest here in child pose or bring the knees down, that's fine. Otherwise, just come from plank into chaturanga. We're holding chaturanga just for a moment and then coming all the way down. So we're going to do a little variation with our cobra here. So we're squeezing the thighs. If you want to use the block, if you want to pop it between the legs, you can do that. If that works really well for you. Squeeze the inner thighs in, firm the buttocks, pressing down with the pubic bone, and have a sense of squeezing the muscles all the way along the spine, and then take a W shape with your arms. So, so you don't have to, you could lift your hands, which is quite a good thing to do. But if you're feeling like a bit vulnerable in the lower back, you haven't quite got the strength for that, keep the hands down, but you can maintain that W shape. So it's up entirely as your back. You know, everyone's going to feel something very different. It doesn't have to be a massive lift either. And the W shape will help you get that sort of squeezing in feeling between the shoulder blades. And just hold that for a couple of breaths. So deep breath in, slow breath out. And then rest your head on the floor. So come down, all the way down to the floor. And we're going to slide the hands back so they come back towards the lower ribs and pressing up into upward dog. Real strong grip on the abdominals, and then back to downward dog. So we're turning the right toes out, we're picking up the left foot and stepping forward. You can pick up your belt as well, coming back up into warrior. Get that feeling of your inner thighs. I don't know about you, but last week I really felt my inner thighs because I did loads of inner thigh stuff. So just try and keep that sense of the inner thighs engaged. Keep a good grip on the belt as though you're going to pull the belt apart. Breathing. Have a look at your front thigh. Can you maybe drop in a little deeper? Maybe one day your front thigh will be parallel with the floor. It doesn't have to be today, but. And then we're going to lift the back heel. We're rotating into warrior two. So turn around. So, and we're going to hold the belt a bit wider now. And again, maybe you can drop a little lower so that front thigh is parallel with the floor. If you're feeling unstable, yeah, see if the little squeeze of the inner thighs helps. Breathing. And then we're going to pick up the back heel, we're going to turn back to center, so the heel's still lifted, and we're going to slowly lower the belt down to the floor. And step forward into the forward fold, forward bend, Uttanasana. Drop the head. Come up to halfway. And then from there, a little bend in the knees, come all the way up to standing. Reaching up with your fingers. And folding all the way down. And we're going to step back with the right foot. And we're going to, we'll step back in with the right foot. So we're coming into a nice deep lunge. We're going to pause here for a moment. You can bring the knee down if you wish, if you want something gentler. Otherwise, let's just hold this for a moment. So you get to sort of stretch out the tissues. And then we're going to practice what we've been working on the past couple of weeks. So we're going to loop our thumb and forefinger around that big toe, that front toe. We're pressing into the left hand. We're just going to see if we can lift the foot a little, or some of you might feel like you can go quite a bit further now because we've done this a few times. A little go. And then just bring the foot down, shuffle the foot a little down the mat. And we'll come into, and roll onto the little toe edge of the right foot. And let's just take our side plank. So we're really pressing into that little toe edge. We're really squeezing the thighs together, lift the hips, press down with the right hand, lift up with the left hand. Keep breathing. Well done. And then we're going to bring the hand down, stepping back to downward dog. Swing your shoulders over your wrists. If you want to bring your knees down, please do. Otherwise, you can just hold this plank and maybe drop into your chaturanga. So bending the elbows, dropping the shoulders, and then go all the way down to the floor. So we'll just practice our cobra again with the W arms. So if you overdid it last time, make it a much softer movement. So we're squeezing the thighs in, pressing the pubic bone down, feeling a firming in the buttocks, inward sort of squeeze, and then a rippling effect up all the way up the spine. So feeling all those muscles like a zipping up, zipping together. And it's a feeling that should feel nurturing. It's a soft strength, not a sharp, brutal strength. And then if you want to lift the hands, you can. Otherwise, if that feels a bit strong today, then just keep the hands down, but maintain that W shape. So when you have that shape, it's easier to keep the shoulders down, away from your ears, and you can kind of squeeze those shoulder blades in, and hopefully that should feel quite good. So you're really finding strength in the back of the body. So part of being strong in this position is knowing when to come out. So rest when you need to, and remember to breathe. And then you can come down and rest your head. So completely rest, just for a breath. Slide your hands back towards your lower ribs. Press down, coming up to upward dog, which is also a back arch. And then we're going to just come all the way back to downward dog. We're going to take that right foot, we're going to step it forward. So a nice deep lunge again. So just pausing here. And we are going to have a go at picking up that foot. So looping your right thumb and forefinger around the big toe, pressing into the opposite hand. So you're taking a bit of weight into that side, and then just see what you can do. So a little movement or a big one. If you feel like you've graduated to being able to lift that back knee, go for it. I don't want to hold you back, but otherwise just keep the back knee down. And then, yeah, well done. Bring the foot down. We're taking a side plank. So we're going to slide that left foot back. We're rolling onto the right little toe. Lifting the arm. Really press down into the little toe edge. Squeeze the thighs together. Lift your hips. Reach up with the right hand. Keep breathing. You're doing brilliantly. And then coming all the way down. We'll just step back into downward dog. And we're going to walk our hands this time back towards the feet. And we'll rest in a squat. So hands can stay on the floor as you get stable, as you stabilize. You can use your arms to squeeze the outer edge of the arm. Sorry, your knees to squeeze the outer edge of the arm. So you're feeling the inner thigh. And you can also push back with the arm. So that can feel quite a lot going on with that. And then if you enjoy your crow and you want to sort of hop up into crow, go for it. If you're not very confident, then try lifting your bum a little bit, and just shifting your weight into your hands and see how that feels. That's brilliant. Well done. So all the stuff that we've been doing with the side planks is going to make you really strong for this. So we'll take a rest in a forward bend. So just so you can come onto your fingertips, lift your bum and let your head drop down. We'll bring our feet together if they're not already together. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to swing the arms back towards the hips. Utkatasana. So get another good opportunity to squeeze your thighs together. And if you're feeling strong, you can take your arms up and overhead. If you're not feeling so strong, maybe just keep them in the heart, in at the heart. That doesn't always feel great on the lower back. So do lots of things to strengthen the back. And then we're coming up standing. Take a big wide angle with it, so there's good space between your legs. Bring your hands onto your hips and we're coming forward. Belly pulls back, crown of the head moves forward. If you're feeling unsteady, see if it helps to squeeze your thighs together a little, just for a moment, to stabilize. So you're bringing all your energy into the midline as you do that. And then come all the way down. We're going to take our body, walk our hands, body over to the right leg. We're going to bend that right leg. We're going to drop into a one-legged squat on that side. Feel the back of the thigh. Feel the glute on that side, squeezing in with the glute. And then go all the way back to the left. So we're coming into a left-legged squat. Feel the back of the thigh, the glute. Come back to center. Bring your hands onto your hips. And we're going to come all the way up to standing. So the block is going to be useful, I think, here. It's not essential, but if you have it, put it to the right side of the mat. We're going to turn the right toes out. We're going to turn the left toes in. We're going to drop into a warrior two. So we've already done a couple of these. So hopefully, no, was it just one? So yeah, you're warmed up. So we're going to experiment with dropping this front thigh. So that's maybe going to feel quite strong. So you can come in and out. So we can bring the arms up to shoulder height. And then as you lift them, you can straighten the leg a little. And as you lower the arms, see if you can go a little deeper into that warrior on the front leg. Coming up on an in-breath, dropping down on an out-breath. Once again, coming up on an in-breath, dropping down on an out-breath. Coming up on an in-breath. And this time, when we come down, we're going to come into a triangle pose. So just allowing that right arm to sort of cascade down. You can have it on the leg or you can have it on the floor. And a block, sometimes it's helpful if you feel like, I think you lot are pretty good without a block, but it can be nice to have a block. We're going to experiment with taking the back arm, the top arm around the waist. So you get to open your chest a bit here. And then we're going to do a Parsvakonasana, side angle. We'll do the strongest version, but I'll give you the option of doing an easier one. So we're bending that front knee, and the hand's going to come to the little toe side. So I tend to do the easier option, which is the little big toe side, but let's try the big little toe side. So this is where a block can be helpful. If you feel like your arms are not quite long enough, having a block can really help. And then let's unfold that arm that was behind the waist, and we're gonna bring it in front of the body and see if you can find that line from the back foot, from the little toe of the back foot all the way up to the little finger. Breathing. Parsvakonasana, pretty intense. Let your head be part of this. If it's fallen off to the side, can you kind of see if you can line it up nicely? Breathing. Keep pressing down with the hand that's on the floor. You could drop a little deeper into the hip, the front thigh. And then we'll bring the hand down to the floor. We're going to straighten up that front leg. So we're coming into a really intense pyramid. So much wider than we would normally do. But if you want to bring the foot in, that's fine. But I'm thinking some of you will enjoy a big, wide pyramid. So ideally both legs straight, but of course feel free to bend if you need to. And then we will come out by turning the toes back to center, coming back to the midline, so we're in this wide-legged forward bend. And it's something a little bit different. Bring your hands behind you, interlace them, and press your knuckles up towards the sky, and let your head drop down. And if you're feeling a little unstable, experiment with one pressing into the little toe edge and then a little bit of engagement of the inner thigh. See if that helps. You can be well done. So we're going to release the hands back down to the floor and come back up standing. And just take a little pause here with the hands into the heart. Listen to your heartbeat and any variations in the breath. Notice that. So we'll go to the left side. So we're going to turn the left toes out. We're going to turn the right toes in. We're going to take our warrior two. So warrior two, if you ever get confused, the hips point to the side of the mat. Warrior one, hips point to the front. So much more intense on the inner thigh. So with that in mind, let's see if we can drop a little deeper into that front thigh. And we'll work into that by lifting the arms up, straightening up that front leg. And then bending the leg and dropping down. And we'll bring the breath in with that. So breathing in, straightening up, breathing out, dropping down. Breathing in, straightening up, breathing out, dropping down. And then the next time we bring the hands up, we're going to just pause for a moment, and then we'll take a triangle. So just when you're ready, if you feel like you're too far extended and you want to bring that back foot in, please feel free. We're just going to come down over that left leg. into triangle and let the other arm wrap round. So, oh, I forgot to say that if you're using a block, sorry, I forgot to say, block would be helpful if your arms feel like your arms are a bit short or just a bit stiff. Keep breathing. So we're doing Pajvakonasana. So if you bring your hand to the little toe side, it's something different. I think it's a bit harder to do that. So if you're really struggling, then it could be on the big toe side, but just as something different, let's see how it feels on the little toe side. And then we're bringing the arm in front of the body, finding that line. So if you need to take that round a few times, and holding it when you feel comfortable to, let's just pause here and hang out. It feels harder on this side for me. Pressing down back into the back foot to reach up with the top hand. Well done. One more breath. Keep reaching with the fingers. Keep pressing back with the hand. You're doing brilliantly. And then bring the hand down. Straighten up the leg. We're just walking, turning the toes back, walking back to that wide-legged forward bend. So if you have a block, it's a nice thing to try, and it's not going to work for everyone, this instruction, is to bring your head onto the block. So obviously I'm aware that we're all going to have different torso lengths, but it is actually a nice thing to do, to have that experience, and feel free to adjust where the feet are so that you can, for that to happen. Or if you had a footstool or something, just to get the sense of resting the head on something can feel really nice. If you don't have anything, don't worry. But it's just something different. And then we'll take that option where we bring the hands behind us, we interlace them, and we reach up to the sky with our knuckles. So, and that will zip your shoulder blades together. So again, you're kind of strengthening those muscles, like you're massaging them almost with that. Hard. It's quite hard, this. I used to have a yoga teacher who was very brutal with me in this, and she'd yank my arms up to the ceiling, and it was so painful. So I wouldn't do that to anyone, I have to say. But yeah, you will probably want to come out now. When you're ready, just releasing your hands down. And then we're just going to shuffle our feet in, coming back into our squat, dropping the bum, bring the hands into the heart. So if you feel like you need more of a resting pose now, then make it more of a resting pose. Even you can bring your bum onto the floor if you're happy with that. If you're actually enjoying, more dynamic, then you can have another go with the crow, or practicing your crow. Just squeezing the arms with your knees and pushing back with your arms. So you've got that feeling of those inner thighs. Keep breathing. And then, when you're ready, so we're in the middles of our mats, I hope, or at least if you're not, don't worry, just make a little bit of space. So, because we're going to go to the right. Are we going to go to the right? Yeah, we're going to turn to the right. And we're going to just come back into a lunge again. I'm just turning around so you can see me. So we're going to take our front foot, we're going to loop our hands around that front foot, and if you want to lift the back knee, please go for it. And we're just going to see if we can bring that foot into the inner thigh. And if it's not, it's just something to play with. So if it's not happening, don't worry, step it back to where it's comfortable. But yeah, some of you might find that feels quite good. And again, it would dynamic inner thighs, so the thighs pushing back into the foot, and the foot's pushing into the thigh. And if you want to lift the arm, go for that option. And then we're just going to see if we can lightly step that foot. You can bring your hand to the foot and step it back into your lunge. I know it's tricky that, so don't worry, it's just giving you things to play with. And then we're just going to lift that back knee and turn back to center. And we'll go all the way around to the left side. So we're back in our lunge on the left side. We're going to loop our thumb and forefinger around that big toe. And then, yeah, just see where you can go with that. Let's see if you can bring that foot, gripping the big toe like that. If you want to grip the whole foot, it doesn't. These are just options and things that I was taught, so it's more traditional, but it's fine to adapt. So if you get that foot onto the inner thighs, make sure that you push back against the foot. If that's not working for you, just keep the foot on the floor. Or you could step into full side plank if you wanted. And then if you've got the foot lifted, let's just see if we can take the foot and step it back. So we're back in a lunge. I know it's really tricky. You're doing really well. And then we're going to lift the back knee. We're going to turn back to center. And shuffle the feet all the way in and bring yourself down to the floor. And we'll just bring the soles of the feet together. So just pausing here for a moment, letting your focus come back into the breath, so awareness back into the breath. We want a sense of it moving up and down, rising up and down the body. So you can press into the little toe edge a little bit. So press a little bit more firmly into the little toe edge. And see if that creates more space and maybe a nicer, easier feeling at the back of, around the pelvis, at the back of the body, around the sacrum area. A release of tension, hopefully, around the back of the hip. We're going to just bring the knees up now, cross the right knee under, or the left knee over the right. So you've got two options. You can take a very gentle cross-legged position, or you can go for the stronger, like Gormukhasana, where your knees are lined up. So almost, it doesn't have to happen today, but imagine that one day your knees were going to be lined up one on top of the other. And then the feet, the full or stronger version is for the feet to be out in line with the knee, but more, maybe better, if your hips are sore, to have the feet back towards your bum. You could sit on something if that feels horrible, or the right leg could straighten up, and that will just make it a lot more manageable if your hips are tight today. And then see if you can sit properly back into your sitting bones evenly, which I know is a little bit difficult. And return to the sense of your breath up and down the body. So breathing in up to the crown of the head, breathing out all the way down to the bottom of your feet. We're going to lift the right hand now. We're just going to bend that arm, and so it's behind the head, and we're going to take the hand with the opposite hand, and we're just going to spend a few moments here. So it's normal, if your shoulders are really tight, it is absolutely fine and normal for the elbow not to be quite up towards the ceiling. Maybe, if your shoulders are sore, maybe it's going to be more out to the side. That's fine. It's not wrong at all. It's just, but one day and over time, hopefully you'll be able to bring your elbow up a little higher, and then you just get more stretching, more deep stretching from that. Can you drop the weight of your head back into the arm? If you want to take a stronger version of this by wrapping the arm around the back and holding the hand from the back, go for it. It's really good as well. So deep breaths in, and slow breaths out. Deep breaths in. Slow breaths out. And let's just release everything down. So release the hands, and we can release the legs. Maybe take a slightly easier cross-legged. We'll go to the other side in a moment, but before we go to the other side, just pausing. To take stock. And we'll let that right leg come over the left. So lots of options here. If you want to take a gentler cross of the legs, that's fine. You could straighten up the left leg if you're happier with that. Feet could be parallel with the knees or back towards the bum. And you could be sitting on something as well. Just pausing for a moment. And then so the opposite hand from the raised, so whatever knee you've got on top, take the opposite hand, which should be the left hand. And then you're going to bend that arm. we're reaching for the hand. Oh, I forgot to say, actually, if holding the hand isn't right, you could just hold the elbow. That would also be okay. So I'm guessing that this is, for most people, it's sort of on the edge of comfort and discomfort. So that's okay. A little bit of burn is okay, as long as it's not a sharp pain in the joint. You don't want that. But if it's all the muscles and sinews and the tissues just sort of stretching a bit, that's normal. Just really taking those deep breaths. If you want to bring the hand behind to grab the hand that way. So that's full Gormakasana. Gormakasana means cow pose. Cow face pose. And then releasing the hands. And if you're happy to sit like this, that's okay too, but otherwise you might want to take a slightly gentler cross of the legs, so it's not quite so strong. And sit for a moment and enjoy all the feeling that you have now from the release. So we're going to come to lying down, but I thought I would just do a little baby back arch with you, and then you get to do your shavasana. So you'll need your block or something to hold, and you can roll up your mat for this, or if you have a block, not a block, sorry, a rug. So it's not a massive one, it's a little baby one. If you want something bigger, that would be okay. But I quite like the firmness of a rolled up mat. And the mat is going to come at the back of your heart, around the shoulder, if you're a woman, around the bra strap. And you're going to roll it up tight so it's good and firm. And then you're going to come to lying down, ideally with your legs straight. And you're going to take the block in your hands. So yeah, very much, what's the word for it? Straightening up the body, creating a little, not tension exactly, but yeah, as though we're pulling ourselves over this little rolled up mat. So we're going to, holding the block, we're going to press away with the block as though it's going to press into the wall, and then you're going to flex your feet, and you're going to press your feet towards the wall the other way, and you can even lift one foot like you're doing a zombie walk. And actually, as you do that, as you lift the foot, you're reaching, extending. So it's just to create more length. So you're on a rack. That sounds a bit brutal. Hopefully that's going to be really nice for the back. That area where you pressed the mat into. So hopefully that feels good. Yeah, if you didn't have a block, you could interlace your fingers and do that option. That's a really good option. Press the palms away. different. I quite like thinking of, you know, the way that we use the block to firm our inner thighs. I feel like when you're pressing into a block with your hands, you're also firming up the inside of the arm, which is also another quite, loads of people tell me they want to firm up their arms. So yeah, another couple of those little zombie moves. And then you can just rest the hands behind the back of the head and press the elbows back to the floor. So hopefully that's going to open you up in a slightly different way, opening up the armpit area. So this is a heart opening. Back arches are heart opening poses, and the meridian, the heart meridian, opens into the armpit. So when you open up your armpits like this, you're kind of opening up that channel. So imagine, yeah, just breathing, dig big breaths into the heart. And pressing back with your elbows back to the floor, and then maybe up a little to the wall behind you. That's not too much to think about. Back to the floor and then up to the wall behind you. And see if that makes space for the back of the heart. And then that's probably enough for now. So, unless you're enjoying that, it's probably a good idea to come out and release your body back to the floor. So take the roll away and come to lying flat. Or if you want your legs up, that's fine too. So you can do a little nice thing for the face. You can take your thumbs together and just press your thumb joints into your third eye. If there's any little residual tension in the brow, which often there is, isn't there, for most of us. So pressing into the third eye and then slightly lifting the skin up towards the crown and then relaxing it down. So do that a couple of times, pressing in and then up. And then you can even sort of, without necessarily moving the thumbs, pull them apart. So it's not going to be a big movement. Just relax that muscle. And sweeping your thumb joint across the brow. And hooking the thumb joint into the little cavity on the outside of the eyebrow. So you kind of have to feel it yourself. Sort of experiment a little bit with where to position your thumbs to get the real good feeling. When you come to that outer cavity, you can press in and you can lift up as well towards the crown. It's like a little, not exactly a facelift, but it's quite juicy, that point. Just a couple more of those. And then you can relax your hands down. Unless you're really enjoying this, and maybe do it a bit longer. That's something really nice thing to do before bed. So that you're not going into sleep with all that stored tension in the face. So we're just gonna do a little bit of mindful breathing. So those deep breaths into the lower ribs. And those slow, long breaths. Out breaths, sorry. Deep in breaths, slow out breaths. going. Deep in breath. Slow out breath. And the next time you take an in-breath, can you pause at the end of that breath? Just pause. And then the next time you take an out breath, can you pause? Just making a little bit of space. And then once again, take an in-breath and pause. So we don't want to leave you gasping. I don't want to leave you gasping for breath. So it can be just a very momentary pause if you're not feeling strong in your lungs. And a momentary pause on the out breath. And just one more of those. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out, pause. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out. And completely relax. No pause, no, nothing to do or try, or just letting go. Allowing the hands and feet to be heavy on the ground. Arms and legs heavy. Head and torso heavy. As though dissolving the weight of the body. Into the ground. Effortless breathing. As though the universe was breathing you. So when you're ready, very slowly, you can begin to bring some movement back into the body. If you're not quite ready for that, then stay as you are. Roll onto your side, curl up. From here, you can very slowly come up sitting and start to, just take it easy. No rush. So I'm going to take a comfortable seat. And we're just bringing our hands to rest on the legs, palms up. If you want to hold Wisdom Mudra, go for that. Lightly pressing down for a moment with the back of the hands. See if that can help you lift up a little bit in the spine. And we're just shining the light of our awareness now into that point between the thumb and the forefinger. And letting everything else melt away. So I'm going to finish bringing the thumbs together and just resting them again. Once again, your third eye. Drop the weight of your head. Namaste.